Politicians are put there to give you the idea that you have freedom of choice. You don't. You have no choice. You have owners.
I am the Rambling Madman.
I have this feeling, man, because there's a handful of people actually run everything. That's true. It's provable. It's not I'm not a conspiracy nut.
Motherfuckers are so sensitive, the whole country is turned into bitch-ass niggas.
Alright everybody, hello and welcome back to another episode of Ramblings of a Madman. This is your host, Mark Ciccarella Jr., aka the Rambling Madman. Today, I'm coming at you with an episode. It's a bit of a different episode. I know a few weeks ago I had my buddy John on the show. We just had like a little rambling on conversation. But this week I have an episode kind of similar in terms of how the episode is set up. But the only thing that's different is the guy that I'm having a conversation with is... he's a very small YouTuber named Moska Flocka Flame, and it's kind of weird because this conversation that you're about to hear between the two of us was the first conversation we had ever had, like outside of a few text messages. I met him on Reddit, looking for people to collaborate on the podcast with, and he sent me his information. We started texting, and then out of nowhere he was just like, "Yo, you want to record an hour and I'll talk about synchronicities?" And I was like, "Yeah, fuck it, why not?" I love I love the realness that comes with on the fly shit when you when you're just talking off the top of your head. It's more authentic in my opinion. So without rambling on too much here, that's what today's episode is going to be, and I hope you enjoy it. Remember, as always, I have the link to my Patreon and my merch store, and my Patreon and my merch store in the bio, in the episode description of this episode. So wherever you're listening to the episode, go ahead and look at the description, and if you feel so kind and you want to make a donation, you can certainly click on the links to the Patreon and to the merch store, and you can purchase some merch. You can make a small donation to my Patreon account, and every dollar goes a long way in helping create this show. And so if you wouldn't mind throwing a donation my way, I greatly appreciate it. If not, keep on keeping on. And also remember to like and share these posts wherever you see them. You guys helping me to spread the show out to a wider audience is only going to help the show grow bigger and bigger, and hopefully we'll wake more people up that way. So without rambling on too much here, like I said, I really want to get into the conversation that I had with Moska Flocka Flame, the very entertaining conversation that we had. So I guess I will see you guys on the other side. All right, and for the first time on Ramblings of a Madman podcast, we have Moska Flocka Flame, an amateur YouTuber. All right, no, there's no amateur. You're just the greatest of all time, or you're nothing, and he is the greatest of all time. Moska Flocka Flame, what's up, my dude?
Yes, sir. Thanks for having me. Quick synopsis. I'm lean, I'm mean, I'm a truth-fighting machine, and today I'm just going to be calling in the carpet bomb of truth. I'm calling it in. I think, you're right. I am an amateur, but I'm ready to go from average to absolute savage. And
that's fucking awesome. You text me, you're like, "Yo, you want to record now or in an hour or something?" Like, I was like, nah, I can't just like do that, because my episode 2 weeks ago was actually just done like that, spur of the moment. I texted my buddy, I'm like, "Yo, you want to record with me?" And then I was like, well, that actually turned out pretty well. So I was like, yeah, fuck it, full send. We're gonna record on the whim. That's why I'm the Rambling Madman. That's why you're Moska Flocka Flame, because just don't give a fuck.
Oh,
and
yeah.
So I think you said you wanted to talk about synchronicities today, and a little bit about the Matrix and COVID. And I'm gonna let you take the floor, as it seems like you seem pretty confident. It seemed like you're coming out swinging here.
Yeah, I think I got a lot to say. I haven't recorded in a while, so I feel a little bottled up, but I'm ready to just open up. I'm ready to go. I got some stuff I definitely want to talk about, but even just talking about like texting each other, I just want to talk quick about how we met. And like, I think this is a perfect start to it. Like, we met on Reddit, and now we're doing this easily through Zoom. And before COVID, I didn't even, use it. We didn't have Zoom, and now it's like, this is so easy, record. And
Yeah,
it's like,
yeah, exactly. Yeah, so he mentioned that he met me on Reddit. Basically, I posted on Reddit looking for people who might want to collaborate on the podcast together, and or have me collaborate with them on their shit. And he hit me up. He was like, "Yeah, man, I'll do that." I checked out his YouTube channel. It's fucking dope. Moska Flocka Flame. Check him out on YouTube. And basically that's it. And when you find people who are committed to the truth, it's not very hard to get along with them. So so I think this is going to be a great episode.
Dude, you hit the nail on the head. Like, I've just been like, so I have a YouTube channel. I probably have about 12 videos up where I'm just ranting. I got like 3 with some buddies, and it's just so different with them. I haven't really gone deep into any conspiracies. We just talk about some of the shit I'm going to talk about today. Like, I've just done so much research into the conspiracy rabbit hole, and like, you just come out, and there's a way to come out the other side. Like, sometimes when you're digging so deep into that stuff, you think it's like never gonna end, but in reality, like, you hit a certain point, you break a wall, and you just start levitating above it. Really, once you see the whole plan, you see the whole agenda, you see how everything's been carried out. My dad called me, and he's like, this is before COVID. I'm at school, and my dad's like, it's a September before COVID hit, and he's like, yo, like, you should check out the Bill Gates documentary on Netflix. And
I'll get the fuck out of here.
I'm like, and he's usually into this stuff, but that was still a time where it was a little over his head. Now he's more on my side, but because of this, and it was the September before COVID, and I go, yeah, right, dude, that guy's gonna take over the world with a virus in the next year. Like count on it. And like, I had just been watching like Alex Jones, listening to Tinfoil Hat, and you were tapped into all that stuff. Like, it's
yeah,
just,
man. That's
the ending too. It's crazy.
I mean, I'm not the biggest Alex Jones fan. I used to be like so into his work, and I think he's more of a character now than he is like actually out there fighting and shit. But definitely he is like one of the OGs in the truther community, and despite what a lot of people think about him now, including myself, at one time he was the real deal. Like, he infiltrated Bohemian Grove, and like, he was like the only person to ever do that shit, and that's fucking amazing. So so I always respect him for what he did in his beginnings, and now I think he's literally just trying to make money now, and so he
mainstream, and it's
he went mainstream.
And like with him, like I'm in the same boat as you now, and like I'm talking about thinking positive and stuff, and you can't watch that and think positive. But that was when I got into conspiracies, like,
of course, yeah, and
in college, and it was the Rogan episodes, like,
yeah,
never heard.
I'm a little bit retarded.
And it was just 3 hours of AJ, like, injected straight into the veins, and it was just, oh my god, it was awesome. I was like a kid in a candy store. Never looked back.
And it's actually weird you mentioned Bill Gates and the virus, because I have an episode going out tomorrow, and it's all about Bill Gates and his depopulation agenda and vaccines. So
yeah, dude. Say something, bro. Dude, I actually was just about to bring this up. I just got an email at 2:51 today p.m. I got a hilarious, like, it just is so funny, and this is what I'm talking about, positive doing negative. Like, there's just so many jokes you can go off of it. But so I go to school at in Colorado, in Boulder, and we get a email today saying that you have to take the vaccine to come back next year.
Oh, really?
Oh yeah. I mean, I knew it was coming. I mean, technically, like, when you go to college, like, and even school, it's pretty much like, you got to send in those sheets, or you got to like, have like make up an excuse or something.
I feel like I'm Amish. Like, I can't. I'm Amish.
I know. Yeah, that's what I'm like gonna have to do, and like,
but they can't tell you that you're not Amish.
I know. No, I feel that, bro. Like, I'm actually gonna go about it probably something like that way. But so, and like, the funniest shit is it comes from the chancellor of the school, And this guy's a Kennedy, okay, out here in Colorado.
Like an actual Kennedy, like
His
related.
last name's Kennedy, but he comes from Massachusetts, and like it's just a big clan. And I got a rule here.
Okay.
I never trust a Kennedy that hasn't gotten whacked. That's just a rule of
That's
thumb.
it. Well, Bobby Kennedy Jr. is pretty damn woke. I don't know if you're familiar with his
Oh yeah. And
his
then
work. He's a big lawyer. Like he sues the vaccine companies and shit.
and this is what it's all about, is this upside down world. I get synchronicity. I'm not even kidding you. I get I see him on Instagram, see him doing exactly what you're saying, this Kennedy against vaccines, and then I got to deal with another Kennedy who's emailing me.
Yeah, exactly.
This synchronicity is in everything. It's crazy. And I actually got a funny story. So, are you familiar with Dr. Shiva Ayadari?
Dr. Shiva?
Yeah, he ran for Senate in my home state of Boston.
No, I'm not familiar with him.
And he ran against a Kennedy, right? This year, there were a couple people in the race. But the funny thing is, it involves my sister, who she's like going to law school. She scored like a perfect score on her LSAT. I had to do more homework for the dinner table with her than I ever had to do for school. And so there's this joke I got. She worked on the campaign for this Kennedy that my guy was running against. And I don't really like, I don't put up signs or anything, but we got a Kennedy sign in our front yard. And neither of them won, actually. Some other guy won. I don't even remember who. But it was the first time a Kennedy had ever lost like an election like that in mass, like ever. And so I just kept roasting my sister because she worked on the campaign. I'm like, dude, you blew it. You blew the freaking like political history. It was so funny. She was so rattled.
Wow, that is pretty funny. So yeah, it is kind of it is weird, those synchronicities, because it's like little things, People always like try to act like it doesn't mean anything, but but when there's a bunch of little things that happen, like you can't just tell me it doesn't mean something, because I think everything has meaning, and so there's like little things like I was just like watching all these fucking Bobby Kennedy Jr. videos, and I was watching him talk to this guy from Yahoo News, and the guy from Yahoo News was like trying to like fucking tell him that, well, there's all this science that backs up these vaccines, and there's all this paperwork, and Bobby Kennedy's not having it at all, and he goes on to talk about how Trump took a $1 million donation from Pfizer and shit like it. So I was looking at all that shit, and then you bring up the Kennedys, and then you say you bring up the story about Bill Gates, and I have an episode about Bill Gates coming out tomorrow. Yeah, so shit just it adds up, and sometimes things are just destined to happen. Maybe this is the first of like the biggest truther community fucking podcast, like holy grail here is Moska Flocka and Rambling Madman.
Me and you, I'm telling you, it's more than you think. It's the instincts. It's like we see this news and we like gravitate towards other people that think like this because it makes us feel safe. It's all this like instinctual stuff, and people, it's all in your subconscious. People don't realize what they're programming themselves with. I mean, all this stuff, but like me and you, when we start rambling, and I'll find a kid from time to time, but it's rare, to find someone that's deep down in the rabbit hole. And
no, of course, yeah, it is rare. I mean, people, I'm so tired of the everyday people in today's world. Like I shouldn't even bring this up because God forbid somebody from my work hears it. But all right, but so I'm not going to mention the company I work for, but one of the coworkers comes in today, and he was like, "Yeah, I was making a delivery, and I walk in to the lobby, and I'm waiting for the guy to sign my paper, and everybody's in the lobby waiting room waiting with their masks on." And he's like, I have my mask on, and then there's this lady that comes in the front door, and she doesn't have a mask on, and she goes up to the counter, and then she starts talking to the guy behind the counter, and then she's like, oh, wait, do you want me to put my mask on? And the guy behind the counter says, no, you're fine. And then she's like, well, she's like, oh, thank God, because I didn't want to put it on anyway. And he was like, but I wanted to just say something to her and tell her, but I want you to put your mask on. And I'm like, I wanted to hurt him. I really did. Like, it's just like this is like this is what men have turned into in 2021, emasculated pieces of shit that are scared of a virus. And mind you, this is a guy who's fully vaccinated and does nothing but talk about the vaccine. And he was scared of a woman without a mask on while he had a mask on.
Oh my God, dude. So yeah, this is a perfect segue. And that one quick thing, the people who tell you to put your mask on, always the most unhealthy people in my opinion.
This dude's at least 300 pounds and fucking and does nothing but eat McDonald's and shit.
I wanted to put it on because you probably catch a whiff of the common cold and drop like a sack of potatoes.
Exactly. That's what people don't understand. He's like, if you were fucking like 400 pounds and died and got COVID and died, COVID didn't kill you. Your fucking immune system killed you because it wasn't there. Like, you just didn't have an immune system. That's just how it is. Like, if you get fucking the flu or fucking any like serious illness, you're going to fucking drop dead if you have no immune system.
They get placeboed.
Yeah, exactly.
But perfect segue. I want to talk quick about turning these negatives into positives. Perfect segue. So one perfect example is like, so the dumbing, this is like one of the biggest problems in our country, right? We can admit the dumbing down of just like,
of course.
Like, obviously, this is like every truth seeker just sees it. And once you see it, you can't unsee it. And I mean, I'm in fucking college right now. And these, a lot of professors are good. There's some, but like the big lecture ones, it's different. They are so brutal they put it in everything. And it's just,
dude, it's horrible, dude. I'm a college dropout. Okay. So I don't have quite as much college experience as you, but I don't know if you've seen The Sopranos. I always like to talk about, there's an episode where Tony Soprano's in his therapist's office. He's like, and I had a semester and a half at Seton Hall, so I know all about Freud.
Yeah.
That's kind of how I feel here. But I've had my time there. From the time that I've had in college, I've seen enough, and I know enough. I don't want that shit anymore. But I had this one class where it was a communications class, and the professor was telling us that literally this was what the class was about, telling us that Breaking Bad is racist because there's Mexican drug dealers.
That's hilarious.
But it doesn't matter that the main character is an old white dude who makes meth, but it has Mexican drug dealers, so it's a racist show, and because they could have been white.
Oh my God, it's all just a distraction, and this is where we're going with this. It's like I looked at it as a negative for so long, and the real change was when Trump lost the election, and all my like close friends were they just knew I liked him more than Biden. I know the reality of it. I know he's not perfect. He's not going to walk on water. He's not going to save anyone. But there's some things he fights for us truthers that we all can agree on. But I just thought about it for a second, and I'm like, I could be a little bit butthurt by it, but the dumbing down of all these kids, right?
Mm-hmm.
It's just gonna like hurt my competition in the future in like work and just like stuff like this. Like if everyone's dumbed down, if it's happening to everyone, the people like me and you are gonna like go. The more it happens, the farther away we're gonna distance ourselves from it.
Oh, of course, yeah, we're gonna be outcasts.
I've just had so many headaches from these people, and I wanted to help them for so long. But you get to a point where you're like, you can't save them all. And then you realize when they're working against you and they're infringing on your rights, and they're like asking me at parties, like, or not at parties, like after when we're just hanging out, they're like talking about the vaccine, and like they get mad at me for what I say. I'm like, I guess it's just gonna take out all the idiots. Like, you
said the perfect thing there. You said like after parties, and you're just hanging out and having a conversation, and like that. And you're exactly right, because that's how people in our age group are. Like, they don't even see the irony that it's after a party. They were just at a party. Like, you're not even supposed to be at a party. You're supposed to be at home social distancing if you're scared.
Oh
right?
my God.
And like it's just like you know how Orwell invented the term double speak and double think?
Oh yeah.
Like simultaneously believing in two contradictory things and accepting them both as a fact. Like you think you're doing so good and helping each other and helping the world by getting your vaccine, but yet you don't listen to them when they tell you to social distance, but then again, you're all in the front line for wearing masks, but then behind the scenes, you're not wearing masks. Like it's just like people aren't. I struggle to say that people are dumb because it's not that they're dumb. It's just that they have no backbone, right? They just don't care enough. They don't care enough about their freedoms. They don't care enough about being forced to do. Like I had a conversation with I think he's kind of like my boss, and he was talking about the vaccine. He was like, "Yeah, I just want to get the vaccine, so just in case I can't go to Steelers games without it." I'm like, I'm not going to argue with him. He's my boss, but I'm like, oh, okay. And I was like, yeah, I just don't like being told what to do. To be honest, like I mean, there's a bunch of other reasons why I don't want to get it, but really, what it all boils down to is I don't like being told what the fuck to do because I'm a grown ass man, and people, there's nobody who is their own man anymore, and it's like that's what really pisses me off is that like people don't care about COVID as much as they just want it to all be over. They just want to go back to normal pre-COVID society where you could go out and do whatever the fuck you wanted to.
We never got rid of TSA. Like they just don't realize what they're saying.
Exactly. The world changed forever in 2001, and it changed again forever in 2020. And
yeah, dude, they don't get like you're saying double speak. Like we're all on this. We're on the same page here. Like a funny one I always say is like they get the right to say Blue Lives Matter when like they're against the blue. Like it's so funny. Like really when you break it down and like. Even like vocabulary, like I mean, I could go pretty deep with it, but have you looked into like the words and like how it's like good morning, but morning's like funeral or like hello and hell's at the beginning of it and like.
Yeah, I've seen some stuff like that. I haven't looked too much into it, but
yeah,
but
all that double speak stuff. It's just like it just goes so deep where they're just fucking with people so hard.
Yeah, exactly. It's like people don't realize how deep the psyop goes, and it's literally at every facet of our lives, and like there's a reason why we have to go to fucking public school by the time we're like 4 or 5, and I think they want to start it even earlier, and like it's just indoctrination. Like, and I see people. What the fuck was this girl talking about on Twitter? Somebody posted a TikTok to Twitter, and it was this girl talking about how something was racist. And I forget what the hell she was talking about, but she was it literally. So I know you're familiar with MK Ultra, but like when these people start like just going off about this shit like that they so-called believe in and like social justice rights and shit like that, it's literally like they've been brainwashed, and it's kind of scary because it's like they're fucking robots. They're just like regurgitating everything they've ever been told in school, and it's like don't you ever like have an original thought?
I know that's hitting the nail on the head, dude. I tell people that all the time. Like when you put a slogan up, and they always say, like, let my voice be heard. If you put up a politician's name, that's not your voice. That's his voice.
Of course.
Like, it's just like, and they're so into it. They're like, my voice matters. Like, it's like, yeah, well, it does. And come up with something that's your voice. But it just goes right over their head. And back to just people really wanting to be guided, like they're just afraid of the uncertainty of them taking the reins, and it's just like it's too much for people, I think.
And to be honest, I understand how it could be too much, and and that's where people like us come in. I mean, exactly. If you want me to be completely honest, it terrifies me as well, but not doing anything about it terrifies me even more than that.
Exactly. You're like a silly duck. It's like
it is, and it's just like, you know, we have like man has this morality problem, and you know, it's just like I kind of get worked up over, like, you know, if shit really does hit the fan, and like, you know, taking the measures that are necessary, like say fucking, you know, 6 months from now we're in like literally like a Mad Max type of situation, and like the fucking the morality spectrum that you're gonna have to go through in everyday life and choices and shit, and like it's a hard fucking thing to fucking think about, like the choices that you'd have to make in a society where shit really did hit the fan. But at the same time, that worries me. But at the same time, I'm like, I want shit to hit the fan because I'm so tired. It's like we're being teased, right? It's like we're being hit with all this shit. Like in the we can see that something bad is going to happen, and it's just a matter of time. But it's like it just keeps getting prolonged and prolonged. I just want the shit to hit the fan. I want it to be over, and we could just fucking.
It's kept happening. Like I remember coming home from freshman year of college, right? And I came back, and like me and my like 5 closest buddies were at my house. Put on the Rogan, Alex Jones, told them all this shit. I'm like, dude, Nazis still rule the world. Interdimensional shit, like, is going down hard. Like, freshmen in college just hyped up on it. They're like, dude, you're fucking crazy. You're fucking nuts. And as the years go by, they start hitting you up, like, and now, like, my whole town is, like, reaching out to me. And they're like, what do you think's going to happen? What do you think's going to happen? Like, and you just see people slowly turning. And all my friends, no one's political. Like, they want you to think like our age is really like political, and yeah, like some of the girls are, and the only guys that are like left wing, and they're only trying to fucking get pussy. They're not like really like.
Yeah, exactly. I know what you mean. Like they're it's just weird. I honestly like. So I hate like our age group, right? Like I don't hate people, but like I hate what we've become. Like I hate that there's like no real men left in the world. Like every man's just been like emasculated and like can't stand up for himself. And
True. We
live in the fucking times of soy boys and fucking soy lattes and shit like that, soy patties and
the sunken chest I could eat a bowl of cereal out of. Honestly.
Yes, and that really pisses me off, what pisses me off even more is that there's so many girls that find that attractive,
dude.
like the passive dude who like doesn't stand up for himself and like basically just like has a fucking collar and a leash around his dick. It's like it fucking drives me nuts, dude.
You're right about that, but I will say, like, the baddest chicks I've ever like gone with, and like the real like like when you see like those protests, like all the chicks there are fucking gross. So the majority of chicks are, but when you're one of those chicks that's like a dime, you don't even fucking worry about that.
No,
shit.
Exactly. I know what you mean.
Like it kind of, and I'm saying negative to a positive filters them out. If you think like that, maybe it's a good thing we never linked up.
Yeah, exactly.
I mean, it kind of like, and this is what I'm saying. It lets me know who I can trust, who I can like invest time in, who I can, crack a joke with, when I can say certain things. Because nowadays that's always, risky.
Yeah, it is. But I kind of just been like being me. Like I started, like, I matched with this girl on Tinder a few weeks ago. And I was like, one of the first things that I said to her, I was like, so we were going to get sushi. And then I was like, and then while we're there, we're going to fucking talk about how we're going to overthrow the government and start a new society. And she was like, oh, damn, I'm game for that. And like, I was like, oh shit. And
dude, I'm telling you, bro,
you just gotta go out with it. Go.
What I say about this is, so like, I'm telling you, the hottest chick I've ever got with, she's like not even from here. She's from like the Netherlands and shit. And she's like, yeah, she's like kind of try to bring up politics. And I'm like, yeah, I'm like the biggest conspiracy theorist you'll ever meet. I believe they all golf together and everything. She's like, yeah, I kind of do too. And she goes, like everything in your country is like owned by like one family. I'm like, the Rockefellers. She's like, yeah, that's the one. I'm like, I fucking know. And she's like hype. She's like, and she was saying, she's like, I don't even like hate American girls at all. She's like, I just really feel like bad for them. Like, she's like went into all this stuff, how they're like getting like just manipulated and shit. And that was
dude, I agree with her though. Like the fact that like, I don't want to sound like that dude that's like I don't appreciate like beautiful women, but like, the fact that like every girl in our age group, as soon as they turn fucking 18, they already have they had an OnlyFans account like when they were 17. They just waited to fucking start uploading it until their 18th birthday. It's like it's like it's just sad. Like I don't even know why I think it's sad. It just seems sad to me that like they're like you know what I mean, right?
Yeah. Oh yeah, they're mailing it in.
It's like there's
Want to take the reins.
like Dave Chappelle said it best. Like the market is flooded with pussy. Like it's just like it's
It's a commodity.
it's fucking it's weird. It's a weird world we fucking live in. And I honestly feel bad for those girls that are just feel the need to like sell themselves from the moment they turn 18. Like, and it's not even like girls who are like financially struggling. It'll just be like some rich girl you went to school with, and she's like, "Yeah, buy my OnlyFans for pictures of my tits for $20." Like, for what? Like, why are you doing this?
Dude, there's this, I've never like gone with her, but she's like this hottest girl like I know here. And like I'm just friends with her from the dorms and like still working on it, but you know, brick by brick. But I thought she's from like Cali, she's like pretty loaded and shit. And like I thought she'd be like huge, like you know, like liberal, like all that shit. And like we were talking about vaccines and my roommates were like, yeah, this kid's like anti-vaxxer, like fucking with me, like me a little, and I'm down for it. I'm always down to, you know, speak my truth. And she goes, yeah, I've never even gotten the flu shot. So like I was like, yes, like I was nervous at first, but the baddies, dude, they know.
Yeah.
So sexy.
Yeah, I know what you mean. But then again, I've also seen, you know, girls who are like super hot and like having conversation with them. Like this was before the election, and I don't vote. And I was telling her, I was like, it really doesn't matter. I mean, whatever is going to happen is going to happen, no matter who's in office, and we really don't get to choose who's in office. And she was like, "Well, you got to vote for Biden because, you know, it's the right thing to do." And he's going to
preconceived and no
all this shit with George Floyd, and you got to vote for Biden. I'm like, so Biden's going to fix racism? like,
definitely didn't.
But apparently, some people think, you know, he did fix racism. Derek Chauvin, or however you say his name, got convicted, and so racism's fixed because Biden's president, and if Biden wasn't president, Chauvin wouldn't have been convicted.
Yeah, all people care about is Moneybag Joe calling it a bandemic, and they just mail it in. So stimmy checks keep coming, that people don't have to work and shit, and like nobody's just. Dude, I got a quote. I read a lot of quotes myself. I got one right here.
Okay.
The 10 people that roll their eyes, it's about the one that opens them. And it's just like, you know, you go on all those dates and like, dude, I've had girls where you just exactly what you're talking about. And it's like, it gives me a headache, bro. But then you know, it's just like, you can just gauge it all and see what works, what doesn't. And it just kind of like speeds up the process. You don't want to go like a couple weeks with a girl and then like, you know, get attached and then find out you guys are literally two opposite sides of the spectrum. It's just like waste of fucking time.
Yeah, I feel you there. I had
fucking people.
This girl I was dating last summer, and she was like, she wasn't like overly political, but I will say her best friend was trans, like female to male trans.
Yeah.
And like, so I never really brought up a bunch of shit with her. And then it wasn't until after we had broken up that I had started the podcast. And like, so I was thinking about it today. I was like, damn, I really wonder if I would have started the podcast if I was still with her. And
no, perfect segue.
It's just like that.
Dude, it's just like everything fucking happens for a reason. And like, those are just, it's like brick by brick, like little redirections. And this is where this is perfect segue if I could get into like what I really want to deep dive into. And
okay.
It really just comes down to my life, just like my perspective completely changed right when COVID hit.
That's how a lot of people are.
And when COVID hit, I got sent back from college early. It was like probably March 10th, I think. So I got sent back early. And I was pissed because my parents got divorced when I was a junior in high school, but we were still in like my house I grew up in. And I loved that, just like that house. And I loved it. And so when I came back, we had like, both of them had moved and shit. And like, my dad was already moved out, but we sold that house and I was just so butthurt about it. So my dad and my mom both were living in new places I'd never been before, both in my hometown. And I was just thinking of it as such a negative, such a negative. And it turns out at my dad's house, my neighbor two houses down was this smoke show that transferred in when I was a senior in high school. And she like had a crush on me, but I was like going out with a girl when it happened. And like, so I hit her up and I was like, oh my God, we're neighbors. So cool. And like, she was just like, yeah, like sneak through the window and shit. Like we're good. And like, it was just like, okay, so that's lit at my dad's. And I was just like, he lived in this, like just lived in some guy's garage pretty much, but I got to just sneak over all the time. And it was amazing. And then at my mom's, a similar thing happened, but it was so different. And but it was so similar. And so there was a girl 2 houses down from there. And dude, she's so deep into this stuff. Like me and you are talking, that's how like me and her talk. And
Damn.
so I found one girl who's like booty calling and one girl who's like just wicked into this stuff. We'd like meditate together. I like would go in to like make out with her. She's like tiny, she's so cute, and like she'd be like, nah, like you gotta wait and shit. And like I like always hated that shit, but like at some point I was like maturing. I was like, dope. But the really spiritual one reminded me of my mom. And she was,
shit.
And she was
You
like,
know all about Freud.
and I didn't have sex with her, so it's good. But dude, so she just like was really spiritual, really, and my mom didn't grow us up with a religion. It was like she was like wicked into the zodiac signs and all that shit. So she was there like reminding me of my mom. And then at my dad's, it was like this chick who was just like kind of like, you know, materialistic kind of, and it was like they were both right next to like my parents, and it was like the craziest shit ever, bro. It was like just like, and then I was like, so I was so pissed about moving out of my old house. And I was like, well, I gotta fucking move out of like my basement at some point. It kicked me out the door and into like these chicks' houses. So it's like it was like the craziest thing ever. Like I can't even explain it.
That, you know, a lot of people would see that and be like, oh yeah, that's fucking dope, and like that'd be the end of it. But to me, like I hear that just seems like it points to me like that's some kind of like evidence that we live in like some type of like fucking simulation, or like,
yeah,
like, it just shit like that things that just work out, like, and they shouldn't, you know, like things that shouldn't work out, but they do work out, and like they do make you feel good, and it's just like it almost feels like a reward of some sort.
Yeah, dude, like I could have been like, oh, I don't even want to go back home. I'll stay at college, and like, because I don't want to go live in like this garage my dad's living in right now, and like all this shit. And like, but I was just like, nah, I don't like, I mean, I was butthurt, but like, you know, I still got to see my boys back home and shit, and like see my dog. So I'm like, I got some responsibility, and like, I'm just good at not like, I don't really get phased too much. And like, but this really was the first one that showed me how it really, you just, if you just stick with the negative and don't run away, you're going to get rewarded like big time. And
of course, I 110% believe in that.
Yeah, and that was just like the tip of the iceberg. And then that summer, like, and then the other big thing, so there are two real things, keys I've found that have propelled me to have this negative to positive mindset. And first one is shrooms, for sure. Started out in college, didn't do them before that at all. And I've never taken over a gram either. Like,
okay. I've never done shrooms. It's on my list of things to do. I really want to do DMT. But yeah, I've never done shrooms, and I really want to. People have told me like you got to do acid first, and I'm like, I can't. I don't think it's not something I'm interested in doing. Like we all know the fucking CIA invented acid and or LSD, and I just don't trust it. I know people who've permanently fried their brains from it.
Yeah.
And I mean, of course they did like a shit ton of it like every single day, but nonetheless, it's just not. I don't know. I don't trust it, man. Yeah, but I definitely want to start. I'm really interested in microdosing, to be honest.
Dude, this is how we started doing it. We didn't really do it to trip balls. My buddy had this book about this guy, and it's called Change Your Mind. I think it's like Tim Pollan or something like that. And it's about how you like take you microdose, and we're huge into like I ski, he snowboards, my other roommate skis, and we microdose, and we just start landing these new tricks like just like so much easier. Like he'd never done a backflip before. Microdose like twice, literally did it like it was nothing. He was like scared of like going upside down, but he's just like so easy right after that. And yeah, and like I was just like that summer after like I met those chicks too, like I just came back to the beach, and we were doing it in Colorado, and we were shredding shit, and we were having all of these crazy like breakthroughs, me and my friends, like seeing crazy shit. But this summer is when it went to a new level. And like another thing, you know, all the business gets shut down. My pizza place, like I worked for backstage concerts. I'm actually a stagehand union, still part of it, but we don't have concerts. So the whole summer I didn't work at all, and because my shit was closed. And it was like the best summer. And me and my boys would just go take a little like at the beach and just fucking like just like talk about all this shit and like hard. And one day I'll never forget, dude. We ordered an eighth for like a bunch of us, and it was like, so an eighth is probably like 7 grams, and then I probably took like 1.5.
An eighth
of like a ounce, I think.
of shrooms.
Yeah.
Okay.
We
Eighth is 3.5 grams.
3.5. Oh yeah. You're right. I'm tripping. But no, yeah. So we had 3.5, but it came in one mushroom. This is the thing. And I had never taken over a gram. I probably took like 1.5 that day out of that big chunk. It was just one mushroom. I'd never seen it before. And dude, I'm telling you, we were feeling good. Some guys were like chirping us about masks and shit on the way there. We were just roasting them. We're like, live, or no, all men die if you ever really live, you fucking pussy, like saying all this shit. And then we get to the beach, the feet hit the water, dude, and I literally I like tripped the fuck out. I got sent into like whatever DMT shit, interdimensional shit it was. I'll explain it. So because I could write a book on this. It's so vivid to me, and I really haven't tripped too much since, because it's just like it's so vivid in my head. So I took it, we're out in the water playing football, and I'm like, dude, I can't even like look at the ball right now. Like I'm like so in my head. Sit down on the beach. I just feel like the sand is like a water balloon, and I can just like put my hand down, and it like pushes down like a water balloon would, like a water bed. And then I look up into the sun, and I see these faces, and it starts from like all the like, you know, people on TV nowadays, like starts with like Trump and like rappers and fucking movie stars, all that shit. And it starts going back in time. It goes to like Michael Jackson, then it goes to like Jim Morrison, Jimi Hendrix, like goes through all the faces, and they're going up like at like the craziest speed, like just like 10 in 1 second, but like just, and as each one gets younger, like, or older, like person. And then I just fucking was like, and then it went older to like ancient civilizations. They're just, these faces popped up, and you close your eyes and then you open them and they're still there. And then it goes to like the aliens, dude. And they're these like, I just start seeing these blue scaled fucking people with columns as like limbs, and like pieces of infrastructure as limbs.
What the fuck?
They got like these kaleidoscopes of like vaginas and shit, like all this shit. And I was tripping so hard, and I was like talking to these things for so long. I could literally write a book on it. I'm just gonna give you the quick one. And I'm talking to them, and anytime someone mentions someone's name like around me, because I'm with my friends, but I'm like in my own head, and someone's like, oh, Akon's coming. He's this big pale guy. And there was this like queen I was talking to, and they're like, oh, Akon's coming. He's like this big pale Irish kid. And she just explodes with like milk and shit. And it was just like,
what? She explodes with milk?
Yeah, because this guy's a literal bag of milk. He's a big Irish fucking pale pasty guy. And
oh my God.
And so this was my point is, this was the scariest thing I've ever been through. I literally haven't been scared of anything since. It was like fucking space prison, dude. It was like crazy. I'm talking to these like fucking, this shit was nuts. They don't speak a lick of like any words. They're just like go off your emotions and shit. But afterwards, I'm talking to my buddy who I like he's my roommate from out here, and he actually lives back there with me too. And we're talking about it, I'm like, that was the most scared I've been ever. And like after I came out of it, I'm like, but this is the most like strong I've felt ever. Like I feel like after going through that, like nothing, like I could literally like just die tomorrow. And like I've already seen and done more than like their average like mask wearer, you know what I mean? Like I was just so hype on it. It was nuts. And ever since then, like me and my boys like just caught a vibe. Everyone's like asking me about like all the shit that's going on. And you could just feel a real momentum change in my town, and like everyone just gravitating towards the truth. And like it was just awesome. It was fucking awesome. And
It fucking sounds awesome. Oh, this fucking dog in the background. Can you
No.
hear the dog?
no, dude, you're good.
Oh, you can? Oh, cool.
No,
All
yeah.
right. So I had mentioned to somebody before about, I was talking about shrooms, and I have really bad existential dread. Like it's something I've had ever since I was a little child, like 5 or 6 years old, and like children who are 5 or 6 years old don't normally think about death and dying and going to hell and shit like that. But I've always had it, and I still have it today. And I get it a lot when I smoke weed.
Yeah.
And I don't know why, but so the last time I smoked weed was like 3 weeks ago, and it happened again. So I haven't smoked again since. And but I was talking to somebody about it, and I was like, yeah, I really want to try shrooms, but I don't want to like fucking like get extremely terrified like sometimes I do with weed, and I don't know anybody else who gets affected by weed the way I do. And they were like, well, maybe you need to like literally just like see your deepest, darkest fears while on shrooms.
It's crazy, bro.
In order to like learn like what you were supposed to learn. Like
you just learn, like you're just like, it's the most scary thing, but you realize like there's an end to it. It's not.
Yeah, exactly. It's like
nothing lasts forever, and that's what you realize. And you realize that all your emotions are just like present or a malleable state, and they just like are constantly being changed, and like nothing's set in stone. And you know, you can take a step in any direction at any time, and it just opens your fucking eyes, man. And then like just keep going off of it after that summer of just keep doing that. Like had those 2 chicks at those 2 houses. It was just everything. Like our whole town, all the kids kind of got their work shut up down. We were just going hard. And then we just took that into college. And the year before was kind of a slow year, like COVID. Like before that, it was like me and my one roommate kind of had this like shitty living situation. It was just like a wicked small spot, kind of like away from the action. And we found this one kid, and I hadn't seen the house yet, but now the one we're in, his mom does like real estate here, and she like hooked it up. We found this other roommate off Facebook Marketplace, and he like transferred in here, and he like almost went pro in hockey. He was signing contracts like up in Canada, like playing, but he like bummed his shoulder out.
damn.
We I didn't even know him. We went to this lake here and took shrooms, and like we're just like ever since then, like we are just like best friends. Like, and it's just like this shit, we just like all we're seeing the same like avalanche coming down from the mountains, but it's like not happening. It's like there's no snow, but it's like crazy. It's like when you get that, like it's like the bond we kind of have here. We're just like in a similar mental space, and it's like comforting. It's just like,
yeah, and that's you hit it right on the head. There's just some people, like for some reason or another, that you just vibe with, and maybe it's not even just like some people. It's just maybe it's just like for me. I've talked about this before. I have like this. You probably can know what I mean by this. Like kind of like a sixth sense. Right,
yeah.
like you can meet somebody, you can shake their hand, and you could tell that they're fucking fake. Like everything about them is fake, and like I don't even need to have a conversation with you. I can just feel that, like people give off energy, and like you can feel their fucking energy, and it's just like I can't connect with people who are fake, and it really just like it freaks me out, kind of like you know that episode of SpongeBob.
I feel like they're a liability.
You know that episode of SpongeBob where like the Krusty Krab gets taken over by like the corporate company?
I know in the movie when Plankton comes in, but I don't.
It's like one of the earlier seasons of SpongeBob, or maybe it's not one of the earlier seasons, but like the corporate company buys out the Krusty Krab, and like they start making like the Krabby Patties with like gray paste.
Oh
and,
yeah.
And then
that's
like
ringing a bell,
the SpongeBob's in the back by like the factory where the Krabby Patties are coming out, and like they talk to him. He's like, "Hello, wonderful weather we're having today," and it's just like he's like so like he's not SpongeBob anymore. He's just a normal person. Like that's literally what they were saying. Like he's a normal person now. Like he's like SpongeBob is just like all original and unique and shit. But the corporate entity took over the Krusty Krab and like turned him into like just the average Joe who the only thing he knows how to talk about is the fucking weather. And like that's how I feel with like so many people is that like they're just like all they know how to talk about is like the fucking Kardashians, the weather, and fucking getting their vaccine. Like it's like they don't know how to talk about anything else other than like I'm like, don't you have emotions or something? Don't you have anything that's real about you? And it's like there's so many people out there, and like I can obviously tell you're not like that, but so many people are, and it's frustrating and frightening.
Yeah, dude, I'm gonna have to go to the bathroom right here. I'm really gonna piss my pants. But I'm gonna leave you with this. I did write a couple notes down actually, and I wrote down this. Let me get this right actually. Authenticity is valuable, and authenticity lets you follow your own path. Like when you're yourself, you're not manipulated by the things, so you actually find your like meaning in life, and you're able to find the things you like. You're able to help the people that need help, and you find your own path. And when this happens, when you're yourself and you let your wants and needs kind of guide you, that's when the synchronicity hits. That's like the key.
There we go. Yeah.
So the last these people, like I said, there are two things that kind of help me. They just get, one. And the second one's gonna sound kind of crazy. I gotta go to the bathroom real quick. Dream journal. I've been doing this for a while, and dude, like you start like I remembered a lot of dreams more than I'd say most people, and I was just fascinated with them because mine would be so long. They'd feel like a full day. Mm-hmm. So I started writing them down, and then you start seeing how they like predict the future. Like I'll have like a dream about a girl, and then she'll hit me up the next morning, like, and like I'll like kind of like break up with a girl, and then she won't really talk to me, but I can like talk to her in my dreams and shit. And like just the more you like write that shit down and you remember it, it's like all your subconscious, it like lays out like your like everything. It's crazy. And it's just like all shit like that. Like that shit predicts so much with me. It's actually crazy. It's nuts. I don't know if you've had anything like that.
No, I don't know if I've had dreams that predict what's actually going to happen. More so is I have just fucking wild dreams, like like and dreams that like I have nightmares a lot, and like I definitely think there's some meaning to the dreams, and maybe I should start dream journaling as well, because these dreams are fucking wild. But and I can always remember them pretty vividly, but I don't know that I've had dreams where like where like it happens the next day, or
dude. And the thing is,
I very well may have.
Yeah, exactly. And dude, that's the key, is I didn't really like unlock this until I started just writing them down so hard. I wake up and I like can't really see anything sometimes in the middle of the night, and I'll just write it without even looking at the paper and just like write down my thoughts from it. And like you line them all up and you get a week slate and you look at it all and you're like, what? Like that kind of had to do with this, that kind of had to do with this. And then your brain just starts like connecting so many dots. It's actually absurd. It's crazy.
No, I 100% believe you, because I know people who've said like extremely similar things. And I had this guy, he goes by The Speaker, and he's been on the podcast twice now, and he talks about the simulation theory. And long story short, he had a near-death experience and says he woke up in the simulation and saw what the simulation is. And I was talking to him about dreams, and one of the things he says one of the things he believes is that a lot of our dreams are like kind of like a multiverse situation where like they could be things that are playing out like in like our lives in another timeline at this very moment. And I always thought that was pretty interesting.
Yeah. Dude, I love that shit. I think of it, I just kind of like always think of it like this with me. So everyone's kind of operating on this like subconscious program. Like a lot of the decisions I make, I really don't even feel like I make. Even someone who's so like tapped into their like subconscious, like still I find myself like procrastinating, doing stuff I know I shouldn't. And it's like you kind of realize the reasons why. But what I was gonna say is like when you shit, I kind of lost my train of thought there. But yeah, no, when you tap into this stuff, you just like kind of see what gets you where. I'm trying to think of an example real quick, but
No, I completely agree. It's like,
oh wait, I got it.
okay.
So how I think about the dreams, it didn't even really have to do that, was so everyone's on the subconscious level, kind of like operating. We're all like one big hive organism, and we're all kind of just like pieces to the puzzle. And I think of it as when you're in the dream world, it's your reality completely individual. The reality in the dream world is completely from your perception and your you know, just your wants and needs and what you like and what you hate and what scares you and what you love. So it's all you in the dream world. Everything that's in there is programmed by your subconscious. Everything in the real world is everyone's subconscious pooled together. So you get one individual and then one just completely opposite communal with everyone. So you get the two sides to the same coin. And it's like when you realize how to bridge the two together, now we're making some money.
Yeah, no, it's pretty. That's a pretty dope way of putting it. And I'd like to agree there. I like it. There's definitely, more than meets the eye. Like, we can choose to. I talk a lot about nihilism. We can choose to believe in nothing, that nothing has any meaning, that nothing's connected, and I don't understand how people can live like that, but they do, and I just that it's not for me, and because it's just it's so easy to see that there's meaning there. Like everything you just said, like there's meaning in everything that happens. Like it sounds crazy to people who don't like. It's one of those things like you get it or you don't get it. Like I'm just rambling on here.
Dude, I got hilarious. I'm telling you, if I read you my dream journal, oh my God, I'm like getting giddy talking about this. I'm going to tell you the one from last night and you're going to cry laughing, bro. It's like, and when you do it, it's like so entertaining. It's like these stories and it teaches you so much about decision making. It teaches you, it's like these crazy video game versions of this. Like, should I save the girl? Should I be the nice guy? Should I, save the friend? It's like all these like 100 times more intense versions of everyday decisions. And it really, you just learn from yourself. But I'm going to tell you this one funny story. So I had an ex-girlfriend that I dated for a whole summer. Probably had sex with this girl more than anyone ever. And she's like a fucking hoe though. She fucking must have cheated on me right before I went back to college. Gave me chlamydia right before I went back to college, right? This was like going into sophomore year. So this is like 2 years ago. And this week I got fucking chlamydia and I got the pill at the like place yesterday. And I like took it like last night, like right before I went to bed. And then my dream last night, I had literally, I'm not even kidding you, I had a wet dream fucking this chick that gave me chlamydia in real life. And then I was like, I literally like my dick kind of stung in real life because I still had it. And I was like, in the dream, I was like, oh, like my dick stings. And she was like, you don't like have anything, do you? And I was like, I just let out this like villain laugh. And that was the end of the dream. It was like, like it was like the craziest shit ever, but it was so funny. It was just hilarious. It was like the funniest shit I've ever fucking heard.
That's fucking hilarious.
It's just crazy. It's like shit like that every night. I'm telling you, it's nuts.
Fucking that's a wild dream to have. It's like,
Dude, that's not even. I can't even tell you something because they get like embarrassing, they get personal, and it just teaches you to like vibe with that shit. That's who you are. That's what makes you who you are, and it's like,
no, of course.
and it's just like it's so dope, and it's like so personal, and you just like, yeah, it's like you're getting someone. It's like someone showing you a projection of your life, and you see it from the other, like outside looking in instead of inside looking out, and you're just like sitting there like, whoa. It's like fucking Shark Boy and Lava Girl and that shit.
Shark Boy and Lava.
Like it's
Yeah.
just like that video game version of it. It's just like so funny.
No, I completely I get it, dude. So I know you said it's been since COVID. Well, not since COVID, but like COVID really started waking you up, right? And so is there like a big thing? Like, what is your big thing? And fucking Siri just turned on my phone for what reason I don't know, but what is your big thing like in regards to conspiracies that like interest you more than any other thing?
Yeah, I got a ton. Actually, I got a couple answers. So one thing is just how all politics and all politicians are like boys, like Dick Cheney's cousins with Obama, shit like that. Like Trump and the Clintons, like they're still like at the same events. They're all just billionaires. So the politics, I throw out the
Trump is actually Hillary Clinton's cousin.
Yeah, no, they're all
They're
like
13th
like,
cousins.
Ivanka Trump's like best friends with the Chelsea Clinton. They're all like, I mean, yeah, they're all related. It's nuts. So we're past that. And then, I went down the whole moon landing thing, all that shit. And I don't want to say I'm a flat earther, but I mean, once they lied about the moon and we haven't been back, like there's just a lot of room to, I think we're like some heart of like a god. I don't say we're a flat earth or round earth. I think it's like more like, simulation, or like we're the bacteria on a god's heart. And like,
I know exactly what you mean. Like I used to say that too. I don't want to say I'm a flat earther, but now I'm just like, shit doesn't make sense. Like NASA fucking lies and there's no reason for them to lie. Like,
yeah.
Like we haven't ever seen an actual photograph of the Earth, and like I have questions about that. So, like, unless somebody can like at this point, like I'm more like I told somebody the other day, they're like, "So Earth flat or not?" I'm like, at this point, like I'm about to just say it's fucking flat because
yeah, literally,
we get lied to so much by the scientists and these organizations and corporations and shit like that. We get lied to them so much, we catch them lying. And like I just feel like we have no reason to believe in anything they've ever said, right? Another thing is like I feel like society, like the way we live today, it teaches us to always look outward, to never look inward, never look in and take in what you feel in your gut, your natural instincts and shit like that. And like they just like Catholicism teaches you to that you're nothing. You're like the person. The person is nothing. Everything you need to do is in order to like praise God, right? Yeah. So the Earth looks flat to me, right? You can't.
Can I chime in here, dude? I got a perfect story.
Yeah, go ahead.
So I'm just down at these like neighbors' house. It's like 3 chicks. And so these chicks, I always fuck with them because I'm a huge conspiracy theorist. And I literally tell them like, yeah, I'm a flat earther. And I'll like debate them and they'll pull up videos and I'll fuck with them so hard. And there was this one chick there last night and she literally goes, so why are you why are you a flat earther? Like, just tell me why. And I go, when I go up in the plane and when I watch videos too, without a fisheye lens, I've never seen the curve. So if I don't see it, I just don't really like, once I see it, I'm down. Like, that's fine.
Exactly.
Guess what she said? And then what I said too. She goes, that's very white male of you to say.
Like, get the fuck out of here.
And then I go, yeah, that's pretty Glober of you to say. Like, just nothing that has to do with the conversation. Just like, yeah, that's what a Glober would fucking say, dude.
That's yeah. It doesn't surprise me, but yeah, like I'm saying, like it's not even just with flat Earth, but it's just with everything. With like up is down, round is square, fucking fat is skinny. Like everything is so backwards that we're taught to believe today, and it's just like it pisses me off. And so literally, if somebody asks me if I'm a flat earther, what I'm going to say is it looks flat. It really does look flat, and we've never seen a real picture of it from outer space. So what do you want me to tell you? The Earth is fucking flat until you prove it otherwise. And that's another thing. Like every time you say that shit, like they're always like, well, prove to me that the Earth is round. I mean, or prove to me that the Earth is flat. Well, no, you prove to me that it's round because when we look at it, it's flat.
We don't know. We're saying we don't know. They're saying they know. That's the big difference.
Like without using anything from that was ever given to you by a scientist or whatever, prove to me that it's round. You cannot, because even if you give me a photograph of Earth from NASA, we know that those photographs are not real because they hired the artists to come in and make pictures of the Earth. Like they don't even. You know about Robert Simmons?
Robert Simmons?
Yeah, he's this. Back in 2012, NASA posted a blog post to their website, and it was talking about this guy Robert Simmons, and he's a scientist or artist that's employed by NASA. And in this blog post, they talk about how they asked him what his favorite part of his job is, and he was like, "Well, we've never actually had an actual photograph of Earth taken," and so he was like, and he goes on to say, he's like, "So what my job to do is I gather data from the scientists about the different locations on Earth, and I take that data and I compile it into a map." And then he says, this is all on NASA's website, and he says, and then I take that map and I wrap it around a ball, and then I photograph it, and that's what becomes known as the blue marble, which is the picture of Earth as we know it today.
Yeah.
Like we've never had a picture of Earth taken outside of Apollo, the Apollo missions in the 70s, and it wasn't. It was just literally like a picture of Earth from a space shuttle window.
Dude,
like
there's so much little things about that too. It's like you don't even really. Yeah, no, I know exactly the clip you're talking about too, where they like just like make a small little circle and like when it would really fill up the whole screen.
Yeah,
like that. But even like the fact that it was like how thin the walls were on that. It's like aluminum foil. Little things like the guys, they got video of the guys like jumping off the ship. It's like, well, who's the cameraman? Does he get any credit? He might have been the first foot on the moon.
Exactly.
And dude, it's like just so many little things. Like when they called Nixon and they first did it, he had the blue marble picture already up on the wall in the video.
Really? I didn't know that.
Dude, it's like so many little things. It's fucking crazy. And like, so I told you I went deep into politics, went over my head because like, I spoke my truth for a while about that. It's all run by Nazis, all this shit. Then I went into the flat earth NASA shit, spoke my truth for a while. And dude, now I'm just so into the stuff I'm into. My big one to answer your question is definitely the old world and Tataria and that stuff.
I'm gonna. I got to do an episode on Tataria.
We'll do another one for sure. Yeah. I can just go deep on that all day long.
But it's basically right. It's the idea that like everything we've ever been taught about history outside of like what 300 years ago is a lie.
Everything before Christ, BC, right?
Yeah, exactly.
It's hilarious. They want to tell us like I think like, black people were already here before we brought them over as slaves. They were probably like in like all the Caribbean and shit, just all little shit like that. Like I think there was a whole like united like. You ever look into like the world fairs at all?
I was my buddy Jack Allen from Conspiracy or Just a Coincidence, plugging his show. He's been on the show before, and he actually just did a podcast episode on the fairs. And he was telling me all about the fairs. I'm like, dude, I keep seeing this. Like, it's again the synchronicities, right? I saw a post about the World Fairs on Reddit, on one of the conspiracy pages on Reddit, and then I had never seen anything about the World Fairs, the conspiracy about the World Fairs before. I'm like, oh, that's weird. I didn't look too much into it. Then I'm scrolling through Twitter, and I see like 2 more posts about the World Fairs, and then my buddy Jack Allen, I text him, I'm like, yo, what is this shit about the World Fairs? Have you ever heard about these conspiracies about the World Fairs? And he's like, yeah, dude, my next podcast episode is on the World Fairs. I'm just getting my notes ready right now. I'm like it's so weird. Like, why is this shit like just happen like so like suddenly, like all at once? And then of course you bring it up, like the old fairs. So tell me, in a nutshell of this conspiracy about the world fairs.
Okay, so I'm gonna give you a little background on me. I go to school here. I actually major in architecture, and I have been obsessed with, started out with the pyramids, cathedrals, all that shit. Universal, just architecture that just blows modern day shit out of the water. And the world fairs are the pinnacle of this type of architecture, and how it's just like, no one remembers it. But so it starts. I got this class I take at school here. It's like architecture history and theory, and they talked about some of the world fairs. They talked about mostly the ones during Hitler and Mussolini, because it's like all shit like propaganda they're teaching us now. But they taught us about one other one, one older one from the 1940s, and it was in 1850 in England, and they built this glass house, and they taught us about it because it's like the first time glass was big. And look up the Glass Palace. Look up the Glass Palace, 1851. They built this thing the size of a fucking stadium, probably even bigger. Just this, it's crazy size. Built it in 2 years, had it for the fair for 6 months, tore it down, moved all the pieces that they pulled apart, moved it to another place in England, built it up again in 2 years, and then it burned down later. And they built it twice out of the same materials and moved it in 1850, when all they had was horse and buggy. And if you could just pull up your browser and literally
I'm looking at it right now. Yeah. There's no way.
That's 1850 too.
Yeah, that's no fucking way.
Yeah, so I asked my teacher about this, and I've actually made a professor leave, like a guest speaker leave, like, because I'm grilling her about fluoride and all this shit. I'm like big into grilling people in public, like huge into it. And so I got to start bringing a GoPro, honestly. But I asked this lady on Zoom, and I'm like, oh yeah, like we went over the Glass Palace, and I was more interested in that type of the World Fair than like the political stuff in the 40s that you were showing us. So like, could you tell me anything about like just from the 1850s to 1915 and about the World Fairs then? And this is a lady who is like teaching an architecture history class. She's like, yeah, I don't really know too much. You might have to just find some primary sources. So something's up there. And then I found John Levy YouTube channel. That's got to get plugged. This is like my favorite one of my favorite channels. And this is all he talks about. But it's like, and then pull up your browser again, look up the Columbus Exposition 1893 in Chicago. Like
Columbus Exposition 1893 in Chicago.
Yep. Should pop right up, and then just hop on images, and that's downtown Chicago. Built that in 2 years. Tore it down in 6 months, and they did this every year in like every city.
Wait, I'm trying to see here. Road. Yeah, it's weird. Like, what? I mean, I've never looked into it for myself, but like, there's definitely some fucking fuckery going on here. Like, so like none of this shit exists anymore, right? You can't go find these things, right?
Tore it all down. They do like 20 of those palaces, and they save like 2 at each ones, and those are like the public libraries. Those are like the municipal courtroom buildings now, the ones with the big pillars. I mean, and then you research when those were built, and they're built for these, and it's like, we didn't build any of this shit. We don't have and that's what it comes from, is there was higher technologies at work. Now they rather have you fucking paying for gas and shit. You know what I mean? It's like, it's so out in the open. And with buildings.
So is the conspiracy that the World Fairs never happened, or that they were like created by some crazy technology and now they're trying to hide it from us?
I could honestly believe in either, but the real conspiracy for me is that there's no way what they're telling us. Like, we built that shit in 2 years, no chance.
Okay, so you're more along the lines of like, they're lying to us about the technology aspect, not that it never happened.
Hiding like free energy and like these steam cranes that could probably like build with no like gasoline and shit. You just use like water and shit, steam engine type stuff.
Yeah.
And they want to sell us electricity. They want us on an electricity bill. They want us on oil. They tell us the dinosaur fossils are drying up and we're gonna have none. But it's like the second most abundant liquid on the planet, and you can find it anywhere you drill. It's like they just want to keep manipulating the prices of everything. It's pretty,
Yeah, of course.
With the World Fairs, though, what it is like, my big take on it is that there was a civilization here before. These fucking like, I honestly could think they're like fucking giants. This race of like giants. I don't even know. I think crazy shit, but we came over here. The Catholics came over and like won this war somehow. They like died out maybe from like a disease or something, and then we came in with these people, like this new like European like settlement with all this new population, and we had to get rid of all these buildings because it's like these big cities, and people like they wanted to trick the people into thinking like there was no one here before. It's like they found it instead of they stole it.
Yeah.
But not even stealing it from like native people, like stealing it from like an empire, like some like crazy shit.
Okay. It's fucking wild. And the episode my buddy Jack Allen did he did an episode on Tartaria as well, and he just did one on the World Fairs, and the guest that he had on for his Tartaria episode was really cool because like he had like so much information on Tartaria, and like he was just rattling off fact after fact after fact, and a lot of it he said, I may be wrong here, but he was talking about how it's like it was like a society like where they like didn't really need money.
Yeah, exactly.
And like it was like more of like a barter society.
It let free energy. They didn't worry about
and like that's the conspiracy, is that like this like wonderful place existed, and like the powers that be knew that like they could exploit people. If this place doesn't exist and nobody knows about it, then we can exploit people and like just like ruin their lives.
Yep.
Like, that's fucking wild. And
fairs like all across the world, even there you can pull some up from China. I mean, China got they have one of the oldest histories in the world. In the 60s, Great Leap Forward, Mao Zedong, they burnt all their books. And you look at a Chinese city from like the 1920s, it looks like ancient Rome. It's like all these like Catholic fucking pillars and shit. It's crazy, bro. It's like everyone had the same architecture. And I mean, I want to do a different episode though. I think
no, trust me, I do too. But that's definitely I got to look more into that. I got to read more into that. See, that's what I really want to do with my life. Like I don't want to work. I wish I could meet like some philanthropist billionaire who would just pay me to go on like Indiana Jones adventures.
Indiana Jones, I got a poster right next to me of him. He's my favorite movies of all time.
Dope, dude. Yeah, that's. I wish I could meet like a billionaire who would just pay me to like, do research and go on adventures and find out the secrets of the fucking world. That would be so fucking dope.
I know. We all the conspiracy, like that's. I mean, I couldn't think of anything more I'd want.
Like like just imagine like some billionaire. He's like, "Yo, I saw your YouTube channel," and he was like, "Here's $10 million. Now go assemble your A team and find the Holy Grail." I'm like, all right, dude. Like, let's fucking do it. Like,
yeah, no, yeah. I mean, that's like a dream come true right there.
What do you think the Holy Grail is?
What or where?
What do you think it is?
What do I think it is? Ooh, that's a tough question. I never really thought about that. I'd say it's this chalice I made in freshman year clay class, and I drank alcohol out of it all throughout high school. So that's my Holy Grail right there. It's beautiful. Oh. But no, for real, I think it's like this architecture shit, probably in the tombs and the fucking pyramids. Some coil type thing, free energy, like produces its own quote unquote gravity or some shit like that. Whatever.
No, that could definitely be. I think it's definitely be something like that.
Like antiquitech, which is like just some like this like maybe like element combined with another with some type of like engineering and metal geometry where you create like a generator or something. But the one artifact, I don't know about that. I don't even think we know about it.
But see, what I've heard is that. See, this is what I've heard, and from there's a book, a conspiracy book that every conspiracy theorist should read. If you haven't read it, it's "Behold the Pale Horse" by Bill Cooper. And
yeah, I've heard about it, but yeah, I've never read it now.
In the book, he talks about the Holy Grail, and he's like ex-military intelligence,
Yeah. No, I know the whole story. I heard about it on a podcast.
He was murdered outside of his house.
Sure.
So there's that. But he talks about the Holy Grail, and he talks about how like all like the secret societies, like the top secret societies, like the Jesuits, the Zionists, the Freemasons, the Pope, like they all know where the Holy Grail is and exactly what it is. And he hints in his book that the Holy Grail is the remains of Jesus Christ. But the if normal people were to see the Holy Grail, they would be in like utter shock and disbelief at what they saw. So basically hinting that like the bones of Christ would be like some like alien shit or like out of this world.
Melts everyone's faces off.
Yes. That's exactly. It's just like we would be in like we wouldn't be able to believe what we were seeing before our eyes, pretty much.
Yeah, I actually agree. I've heard some cool podcasts where there's like this crystal ball in the Middle East, and they have like politicians from all over the world come and look into it and shit, and like just all crazy shit. I feel like even like every culture might have their own or something like that, maybe. And like I don't know, but like I believe that like that sounds right. Like they just got it, and they're just like it's just like, you know.
Yeah, and then that leads like
No, to like
the theories about like the Anunnaki, like the race that was here before humans, like the ancient alien race of people. I want to get somebody on the show who knows a lot about that. But basically, like the theory that like Anunnaki were like here before humans, and the Anunnaki are like this like super advanced race of aliens, and
yeah,
I always found that interesting. I've even heard theories that like humans today are like kind of like related to like the Anunnaki, which it's weird, but like some of it actually does make sense. And but yeah, the I don't know how the fuck we got talking about aliens, but
yeah.
Yeah.
I think this is a good place to wrap it up, though.
No,
Sure.
you're definitely right. Before we spiral fucking into uncharted territories here, it has been real. This was Moska Flocka Flame. And Moska, why don't you go ahead and tell this wonderful audience, these listeners that I have, where they can find you and your content?
Yeah, so Instagram, just no spaces, Moska Flocka Flame. You can find my YouTube bio there. Also, my YouTube, there is a space between Moska and Flocka, so look out for that. But yeah, Moska Flocka Flame on YouTube with a space. And you know, I talk the talk, I walk the walk. I'm an absolute savage that can't be stopped, and I'm ready to go. This is a great first try. I was like a little nervous talking to someone I never talked before, but you know, feel like I've known you 10 years, bro.
Yeah, there's no reason to be nervous here. This is
No.
the Rambling Madman. Like, I literally come on this fucking show every week, no preparation, just fucking spit my words out at the microphone, and then it is what it is.
Fuck yeah.
But yeah, it's been real, bro. I appreciate you coming on the show. Appreciate you reaching out after you saw my post on Reddit. And yeah, I don't know about you, but I'm down to do more episodes.
Oh, yeah.
A lot more episodes. This has been fucking dope. But yeah.
For sure. I'll catch you later.
All right, guys, and that'll do it for today's episode. I hope you enjoyed that conversation. Like I said, it was a pretty entertaining conversation. Might have gotten some dull points, but all in all, I think it was an interesting conversation. He's a very entertaining man, and you know, follow his instructions and check out his YouTube channel. You know, I'm even going to post in the description of the episode. I'm going to post a link to his YouTube channel as well. So you know, where it has my Patreon link and my merch store, I'll put his YouTube in there as well, just so you can go out and check out his content, support him, subscribe to his channel, and you know, like his videos. His videos are pretty fucking awesome, so go ahead and check them out. And in closing, I just want to say, as I always do, keep on keeping on. Remember, we're all gods out here, and have a wonderful day.